Love throwing punches or outsmarting opponents? Let's check out some of the best fighting games on the Nintendo Switch. Whether you're battling solo or showing off against friends, these games will keep you hooked. Let's dive in. Starting things off, we have BROK the InvestiGator, a fun mix of point-and-click puzzles and beat-em-up action. Set in a world full of talking animals, you play as BROK, an alligator detective solving mysteries while throwing punches when needed. At first, the mix of gameplay styles can feel a little awkward, but as the story unfolds, it really pulls you in. The choices you make actually matter, leading to different endings. Sure, some puzzles are clunky and the writing isn't perfect, but the charm and creativity make it worth trying, especially if you like unique indie games. Next up, Mortal Kombat 1 shakes things up with new mechanics, a fresh roster, and one of the best story modes in fighting game history. Unfortunately, the Nintendo Switch version has its fair share of problems. Frame rate drops, input lag, and long loading times can make it frustrating to play. On top of that, the Invasions mode feels buggy and unfinished. That said, the Story and Towers modes still shine and remind us why the franchise is so iconic. If you're a die-hard fan, you might be able to overlook the flaws, but most players will prefer it on other platforms. Moving on, Gundam Breaker 4 is a dream game for mech fans, and anyone who loves customizing their own creations. You can build your perfect Gundam with over 250 kits, and then take it into fast-paced, combo-filled battles. The story isn't particularly deep, and the graphics are just okay, but the customization options and fun gameplay more than make up for it. Plus, online co-op adds a whole new level of replayability. If you've ever wanted to live out your Gundam fantasy, this game is for you. Switching gears to something more colorful, Thunder Ray is a fast-paced boxing game inspired by the classic Punch-Out! You'll face off against a lineup of wild, intergalactic opponents, dodging, countering, and using special moves to win. The controls aren't as tight as Punch-Out!, and the 4-attack system can feel limiting, but the polished visuals and creative gameplay make up for it. At $14.99, it's a short but satisfying experience. If you're looking for something quick and fun, this is a great pick. Let's talk wrestling. AEW Fight Forever is a throwback to classic arcade wrestling games like No Mercy. It keeps things simple with 3-button controls and over-the-top matches. There's a quirky story mode called Road to Elite, which adds some personality, but the limited match variety and performance issues on the Switch can be frustrating. Still, if you're a fan of AEW or just love old-school wrestling games, it's worth giving this one a shot. Now, for the anime fans, we have Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash. This one brings your favorite characters to life, but sadly, it doesn't live up to the hype. The combat feels shallow and repetitive, with limited combo options. On top of that, the online multiplayer struggles with network issues, and the story mode doesn't offer much depth. At $60, it's a tough sell unless you're a hardcore fan of the series. If you're expecting an exciting adaptation, you might walk away disappointed. Here's something totally different. Fights in Tight Spaces mixes tactical deck building with stylish close-quarters combat. You'll play as a spy, using cards to plan out your moves and take down enemies in cramped cinematic arenas. It's all about strategy and positioning, making every battle feel like a choreographed action scene. The story is pretty bare bones, and there isn't a ton of replay value, but the gameplay is so satisfying that it's hard to put down. If you're a fan of tactical games, this one's a no-brainer. Switching things up, LIMP Heroes Plus is a quirky little superhero fighting game with simple physics-based mechanics. The unique twist? One hit to the head, and you're out. The 2-button controls sound simple, but they lead to some fun and chaotic moments as you try to dodge, jump, and attack without getting knocked out yourself. It's lighthearted, funny, and great for quick bursts of fun. If you're in the mood for something silly and different, give it a try. For fans of retro beat-em-ups, Vengeance Hunters brings that classic arcade feel back to life. You'll choose from 3 unique characters, Candy, Golem, and Looney, and fight through colorful levels filled with enemies. The pixel art is fantastic, and the combat is surprisingly fresh thanks to creative mechanics and tough bosses. A few issues, like awkward secondary weapons and overly chaotic explosions, can slow things down, but overall, it's a fun throwback for anyone who loves old-school brawlers. And finally, we have Punch Club 2, a fighter management sim with a heavy dose of humor. Set in a dystopian world full of 80s and 90s pop culture references, you'll train your fighter or even a robot while balancing their energy, skills, and personal life. It can feel a bit overwhelming at first, but once you get into it, the clever writing and engaging storylines will keep you hooked. If you're into management games with a retro vibe, this is a must-play. And that's our list. From robots to retro brawlers, the Nintendo Switch has something for everyone who loves a good fight. Which game are you most excited to try? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming videos.